Hello everyone, Darren here, and welcome back to Satisfactory. Now in the last episode, we worked on extracting all of the oil that Spire Coast had to offer and created large pipelines to carry fluids over to strut A of Big Shell. We then created a series of pumps, elevating that fluid about 200 meters up to the first floor, where it's now ready for us to use. So today, we're going to be breaking off some of that oil and piping it directly into strut F, where it's going to be converted into fuel and then subsequently fed into 35 generators or thereabouts, hopefully giving us about 13,000 megawatts of power. Now, the total power consumption of this entire build should be somewhere in the realm of 16,000. So the offset is only going to be about 3,000 in total. So that shouldn't be too bad on our power network. So without further delay, let's begin. Alright everybody, it's good to be back. It feels like it's been quite a while since we've had a mainline video entry into the Satisfactory playlist. And that's because Big Shell as a concept is a huge undertaking with lots of moving parts and lots of foundational sub-projects that have to be put into place before things can get up and running. So as we're running over towards it right now, I thought we could take a look at some of the things that have been built in between episodes. So we have here our oil pavilions, as they've been called by some of the viewers in our streams that we've been doing every Monday. We'll talk about that in the future as well. But basically, these are blueprintable little mining hutches designed for oil extractors. So basically the thing is pretty much blank without the oil extractor in it, and I actually don't bake it in with the light either. I add the light in later just because it might need to be on the left or the right depending on where this thing is. And effectively these were designed to house a little oil extractor. It's open air, but also, you know, they all just feed their pipes into this bridge, which contains a pipe underneath it. So you've seen these bridges before. These are also blueprinted. We have our power running underneath them, and every now and then we have these blocks of concrete kind of holding them up. And effectively, these three different oil extraction resources together all combine to have 600 oil transferring on the pipeline at once. So it's able to just have just one pipe running underneath it. Now the bridge eventually combines with another one later down the line that has two pipes then running under, and that then goes into strut F, which is what we're going to be dealing with today. If you look at the to-do list on the right hand side of the screen, we're going to be doing foundations, refinemers, which I guess is a typo for refinement, generators, and then powering the whole thing on. So as part of the streams on Mondays, people have given me great creative input. So here we have to build 30 water extractors, and actually need to do another 30 on the opposite side of this whole build and this whole project. But this is the first 30 that we've done, and I love how it came together. So thanks to people's input, we're able to kind of decide on different aesthetics to add onto it, like adding these metal bars that kind of keep everything anchored towards the bridge, keep things from floating out away. We have the different walkways that are going in between everything, the pipe running underneath each walkway. 6 rows of 5 means that we're filling up each pipe with 600 water per minute, and that's being fed then into fluid buffers, which are housed underneath the walkway, sunken into the water, looking damn fine. Absolutely love how they look. So shout out to the people in the streams that actually helped with those ideas, because they are not my originals. I don't want to steal them. They're, well, the pipes or the metal bars kind of are, not really. And then the fluid buffers certainly wasn't my idea. Now the pipes are running underneath the water, and they need to be kind of cleaned up a bit. I'll have to get to that myself. I just did it very quick and dirty as we were ending the stream previously. I just wanted to get the water flowing over into this place and then up, of course, and over into this area here. So as you can see, it has been hastily done, but don't worry about it. That's a problem for me to solve another day. But outside, things are looking clean AF. We have the water traveling along with oil, along the 9 pipes that are heading over towards strut A, which is where we're going to be doing a lot of the work today as we look to get things then over to strut F, which I'm just underneath right now. So this bridge kind of design, you'll see actually throughout the Spire Coast, because anywhere there's oil, we have that bridge running along, pumping oil to its various different locations. Ultimately, though, the important thing is that all the oil on the Spire Coast is going into this particular strut pillar right here and being pumped up, which we'll take a look at in just a moment. I also meant to say that, again, thanks to feedback in the comments, not just to shout out the streams, but to the people who are watching in the videos and the comments as well. You pointed out to me that there is more oil to be had over on the east side of the Spire Coast, you know, just really where it's kind of ending and becoming the rocky desert, I guess. So there's 3 nodes over there that we grabbed, so that was an extra bit of oil, which is going to help me power on strut F and power the entire build. There's a lot of extra power that we're after getting out of that. It was 600 oil, so really, really good, and really helps out because power is getting a little tight, I must admit. Alright, so I just thought we'd show the bridge just a little bit. There's actually a lot of work that's been done over in the far side as well, because we had to go up into the mountains, basically, and just up to where that river, not river is, the waterfall. And at the back of it, there's several of these oil hutches as well. But there's also like a more complicated staircase in the way we bring the oil down. So all of that was just very cool and fun to kind of design and play around with. As well as that, the crystal oscillator factory is now being expanded, so it can go from 60 oscillators per minute. Now it's up to 105 per minute. So that took a lot of time as well. And that was necessary because, of course, in this build, we're going to be using crystal oscillators to make, I think, computers? Alright, so before I go any further, I thought I should just really do a quick recap as to the current design and the layout and what's currently done and what isn't. So the good news is that basically everything is in position now. The only thing that isn't done, well, it's two things really. It's that bridge right over there, the bridge that connects strut F to strut E and also to the core. So that's a T-junction bridge. There's only two of them, CB to core and EF to core. So it's a pretty simple bridge actually, because nothing actually travels out of F. It only receives things. And E just takes in one component. It's just going to be deuterium ore and some water, I think. So it's going to be relatively simple to set that up. I'm not too worried about it. It's just the last bridge I got to do behind the scenes. The only other thing that is a bit more complicated is the train station. So the train station is going to receive computers. No. The train station is going to receive crystal oscillators, which will get made into computers. So I've just upgraded the crystal oscillator factory to do 105 per minute. It used to do 60 per minute, so now we make more than we need. We need 80, and we're going to be outputting 80 computers, hopefully. So I have to decide where a train station is going to go, and someone in the comments, I think it was Marnus, if I'm not wrong, had mentioned that it might be a good idea to kind of hide away the train station, put it off map somewhere, and secretly feed in the belts up one of the struts' legs, up one of the pillars, onto maybe into core. And I think that's what I'm going to try and do, because otherwise we have to like elevate the train station. It'll look really weird, kind of complicated, so I think it'd be better just to keep the train station stable and then kind of hide away where we send things in. So that's what we're going to do. But anyway, I digress. Today, as I mentioned, we'll be doing foundations, refiners, generators, and powering this bad boy on. So what we're going to be focusing on is strut A, which already has all of its materials ready to go, namely oil, has already been piped up to the top of it, so that's ready for refinement. Some of that is going to turn into plastic, which creates heavy oil as a residue. Some of the heavy oil and some of the leftover crude oil will then be flowing into F, and more than I'd originally anticipated, right? Because initially we were only planning to have, I think, 450 excess oil, but now we've got 1,050 excess oil, which can all be made into power, and this has beefed up the size of F considerably. So here we go. So effectively, we have the pipe layout here is mostly water, but 3 pipes are doing oil. This one, and this one. So one of them is on 450, the other 2 are 600. So these 2 combined is what we need to send over to F. So a fairly simple project in premise. So we're going to have to go up to the top of it. Let's just hover our way up there. We can see some oscillating right now. Yeah, I just connected one of these pipes actually beforehand, so it's still sending some stuff up. And of course, this is replicated on the other side, not 1-to-1. There's a little bit more oil on that side than there is on this side, actually. Not that it really matters for our purposes. Alright, so here we are. Strut A. So A is going to be doing plastic, primarily. Now, I was initially thinking of actually feeding the pipelines along this way, because it has to go out there, right? That's where we're aiming. There's 3 wall holes for pipes. The 2 on the right is what we're aiming for. Those are going to be 2 oil pipelines, pretty much these 2 directly. Now, as nice as it would be just to send them straight over, I'm not going to do that anymore. I think it's better to work with the grid that we have rather than creating our own subgrid coming off of this wall. And the reason is because a lot of refiners are going to be built into this place, and I'm not really sure the entire, full layout. So we're just going to get rid of this area. Alright, that's fine. And then we're just going to grab these and turn them. So something like, I guess if we start fairly close. 1, 2, and 3. And then maybe every 4 tiles or something. We'll just copy that over and then just link them up with pipes. Actually, don't even need 3, but you never know. We might need them in the future. So I'll really just be focusing on that one there on the side. Okay, once we get to about here, we'll just wrap it around and send it up or something. Or turn it somewhere. Yeah, that's the tricky thing. I just don't know. It's kind of going to be kind of winging it. So if we're aiming for there, it'd be nice to bring it straight down here. Pull it out this way and bring it along. So I'll say that this is the line where we're going to have to turn for that pipe. Now that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So maybe here would be a good location for it. And let's just drag out some power because I can't fly here. Oh my god, I'm missing wire. We've got some... I have some over in the other strut though, so it'll be okay. Alright, let's see. So this has to stack on top of itself at least once. Alright, let's see if we can put in the floor holes then. Okay, so... one like that, maybe one right here. Horizontal to vertical, it has an invalid shape. Are you kidding me? Let's do noodle. That works. Horizontal to vertical will work here. Yeah. If it comes out this way, does it look better? A little bit. Okay. That creates a bit of an area for us to work with and just drag this down. So initially the idea of this was going to be like a side walkway to kind of loop around everything, but it might have to expand out if the pipes are going to take over that area, if you know what I mean. I'm just trying to think. The only other option would be to raise it up and over it. That wouldn't work. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Okay. All right, we'll leave it as is. So let's bring these pipes down. And I guess they're going to have to be... Yeah, okay, let's actually start over this way. We'll bring these over instead. Oh, it's nighttime. Our lights have come on. Okay, so about there, and then I think here. Alright, so hook this pipe up to here, this one to there, and just bring these underneath. So they're stacked on top of each other, which should be fairly easy to work with. Should see all our oil flow this way. Don't worry about clipping through that light. These lights are just temporary for me. Alright, looking good. Okay, so is this far enough over? Yeah, seems like it. So we'll have to do for a space of 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So somewhere about here. Stackable pole. There we go. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Again, somewhere like here. That's actually the spot. So, rather than spend too long at it, I might just see if I can, you know, shape it a little bit better myself. But effectively, what we need to do is something like this. So that's not too bad. It's a little strange, but it's not too bad. Okay, so that should be oil all the way over to the thing, actually. And in fact, it might already be making it all the way over. My FPS goes really bad, by the way, if I try to paint these. That's what's happening, by the way, in case you're wondering. If I look at the pipe, we're totally fine. Just satisfactory things. And yeah, for those wondering, Update 8 still runs really badly for me. Obviously, there's not been any updates, so that's why. Alright, should we check this? Nothing. Uh-oh. And this one's full. Okay, we got an issue. Let's trace it. This is the topmost pipe. This has nothing in it. Okay, we'll follow that one. So no oil in that one. This is the pipe right here. That has oil in it there. Oh, are we not powered? That could be the issue. Ooh, I think I know the problem. This is upside down. Yeah, there you go. Yep, we're jostling. Alright, good. Easy enough one to solve. It'd be nice to put big buffers in here as well, just for the look of it, but I don't, you know, I guess technically we don't need them. Alright, so this is 2 oil pipelines, one 450 and one 600. Actually, you know what, guys? I'm going to have to check. I don't know which one is which. I think... Oh, actually, Past Darn has me covered. He wrote it down. So the top one is 450, the bottom one is 600. Great. Good to know. Thanks, Darn.
All right, cool. So let's head on over. That was actually pretty quick. So yeah, we'll head on over to the other struct now. So the blueprint designer is just going to go down like so. Just trying to think, does it? Yeah, it needs to come over just a little bit. There we go. So in this method, by building a little pillar that houses a light on it, not that one, that's the weird pillar, light pillar, and we face it towards that little extra bit jutting in. What am I missing now? Reinforced plates. By building it on these like actual small little grids inside, the little squares, these will all link together really nicely. And it pretty much creates, it's a way of blueprinting a blueprint designer, if that makes sense. So all we need to do now is switch to this and just connect up the cables. And this gives me full coverage of the designer, allowing me to fly between the whole thing, but also, let's just connect it in here. Yeah, so now we've got a blueprint designer just like that, boom, where we can fly around it and see what we're doing. So, we'll start off with the 2 foundation, we'll just go across. And then if it becomes nighttime, the lights will turn on, which is excellent. Okay, so now we need a refinery. We basically need one of these, but I think it's going to be too high up. Oh, it says we need encased industrial beams. Let's see if we can just build one. Hang on. Production. Damn, yeah. I have to. It seems like I'm short materials, guys. I'm going to have to make a couple of runs here to get some stuff. So I suppose what I'll do is just stack this. Need about 40 of them or something. So I'll just run downstairs. All the materials are downstairs. Some of them are up here. And then just grab what I need. Alright, I'm back. We have our first refinery down. So I think that's in the center. So let's just select fuel. So we know that with fuel, we're going to output polymer resin. This is colored as well. Yeah, so floor hole. Let's see if this works. I think it works in a designer, does it? Missing concrete. Okay. There we go. Alright, floor hole, and then fuel obviously is going to be coming out, so we need a floor hole for fuel, or for liquid. Alright, and then a floor hole for oil going in. So, it's just going to be a pipeline Mark 1 going in, and then we'll just do noodle. Noodle, and then I guess we need a lift. Alright. 30 per minute, 40 per minute, 60. So, yep, we should be all good with the rates. Just keep everything consistent color scheme. The other thing then, I don't know if I've got it on me now, but yeah, I wanted to do a few of these. So we need the crystal, quartz crystal, just to make a couple signs. So I'm going with a more minimalist sign design for this one. Is that right? Let's see if this works. It's actually a little too high up for what I want, so I need to get the 0.5 square, bring it down just a little bit. I guess we have to just copy this over a few times. Actually, yeah, that works. Sorry. All right, cool. So we just call, yeah, paste that in. So it just says fuel. This will need to say the percentage. So 100% is usually the default. We'll make it white, I guess. Would probably look a bit better in terms of color because the different bits on the machine are white, like the Fix-It logo. So it looks like it's just part of it. I want it to look like it's painted on, not a screen, if that makes sense. But down here then, so this will say what both of these do. So it's going to be crude oil in. Would that look good black? Black actually looks kind of nice on that one. No, I guess we'll make it white. Okay. I'll just copy that, paste that in. So this is just going to be left blank. Nothing there. Okay, same thing on this side then. So we have fuel coming out. And polymer resin. I just think aesthetically that'll look kind of nice. So, we could just chop away this bit of concrete, leave that one in, and chop this one away. And then these should just, if we save this as a blueprint with the concrete there, This should just fit pretty nicely. We'll have to do the power, I guess. Yeah, I don't know the height of the ceiling, really, so we'll just leave it as is. So we'll just save this as... Alright, so we're going to fly over here and just put down a bunch of level 2 foundations, or 2 meter thick foundations. I'll start padding out this place. So these are 2 meter foundations. That's my only worry, is if this will be off-centered or not. So what I'm going to do to make sure it's good, bring this all the way up. Yeah, there's our gap. There's our discrepancy gap. But I want to work from this. This is okay. The gap is fine. We'll fix the gap. Oh my god. Yeah, the gap can be easily fixed. Not a big deal. But I want this to be the same as the floor below, just so things line up. Alright, so ×2 foundation. Just zoop it out. Okay, so this entire room is now paved. We've got 2 meter concrete foundations the whole way inside of the walkway. So we've got a nice big room to work with, but as you can see, there's an issue. At the very edge, we have all this Z fighting. And that's basically because we're on a grid and then moving into a sort of diagonal turn through it because of the hex shape of the build. I don't know why, but I didn't really factor this in because downstairs it's not an issue. I simply just built this little walkway bit over the concrete, and I'm like, yeah, that's a nice way of masking it. You never really notice, and this can be its own little mini hallway type thing. But when it comes to actually building off of the bridges, our height is sort of determined already, and there ain't much we can do about it. So I'm kind of stuck. I'm not really too sure what to do here. So if we fly up to this location for a sec, if we were to just bring this in here as per usual, and have a floor on this side too. Well, let me think about how to explain this. Let's see. The ideal would be if we were raised, yeah? We can't really raise the bridges. It's unrealistic. They're all set at this height. I'm not doing that. So what can we do? I don't know. What can we do? So if we come in this way, you could either immediately go up a layer, yeah, through ramps and stuff, which is a little weird. Because the door height is set as well. So it's not like we just come in through this open area. So we come in here, and then we'd have to go up a ramp to get to our walkway. Bit weird, but I don't really know any other solution right now. Unless you've got an idea. Now, we could push this in one so we don't see it. But it would be this idea, right? You're coming in somewhere, then you're eventually joining on. And then this whole thing would be raised one. Which means, if you want to join into this room, eventually somewhere you'd always have to come down. I don't know. Seems really messy that way. So let's just do this for a sec, though. Just clean it up. Okay, so after playing around for a little while, I finally got it looking pretty good. So basically, I kept the height in line with where the bridges are going to be, and then I just sunk the floor under it. Now, you might have been thinking about that as a possibility. I think maybe I even mentioned it. I'm not sure. But the main reason I don't do that is this. We can see just... It's probably hard to see on YouTube, but if we really stay still for a bit, we can kind of see some Z fighting going on. And the reason for that is because what's coming in below the bridge needs room for clearance. So there's some bridges where the pipes go right up to the very top, and there's one in particular that I think there's like 4 sets of pipes and all going up to the very top with belts and stuff. So the rule is basically that you need to leave this area here totally clear. You cannot obfuscate it by saying like, oh yeah, you know, just bring your concrete across this way or whatever. It's like, no, that's too close. It's going to be blocking things. So I've decided to push it back a bit. Actually creates a little gap for some reason. But anyway, pushing it back a bit and lining it with the foundations here makes it better. Because otherwise it wouldn't be. So it's a hard one to explain, but you know, they'd be all coming off at different angles and jutting in and out. And we can't cover it up with this. That's what this is here for, right? To kind of cover up that look and feel. So instead, we're just going to push it back, deal with some of the Z fighting we're going to end up getting, right, where it's going to be flickering a little bit. It's not too bad, actually. It seems to be kind of doing okay, but I hate seeing that. It's such a shame that we can't just get a patternless... I suppose, actually, what you could do is use asphalt, and then you'd never see it. You'd never know. So something like that might be a nice little trick for hiding it in certain places where it is going to be flickering a bit. Maybe. I'll think about that. Just a bit of asphalt every now and then. And especially on the underside as well, not too bad, because this is a logistics floor, so it's really meant to not look as good. But upstairs, we want it to look nice and clean, if possible. So I wouldn't be against having asphalt flooring. in here. It doesn't have to be concrete. And often on my factory floors, it is asphalt. So maybe I've just solved the problem a bit. You know, it would have to be something like this. So there's still bits you can see. At a glance, though, it might not be too bad. But just wanted to outline, like, that's the issue, you know? It's like, well, we have intersecting grids here, basically, and something's got to give somewhere. But effectively, though, we still have our room paved, so that's the important thing. Is there anything left in this? No. Yeah, so we've got this room all ready to go. So all we need to do now is start putting in the actual refiners. So to work this out, let me just quickly check what do we need. So for 1,050 crude oil, we need 18 refineries in the room. And then for the heavy oil, it's going to need 9 refineries. So we made these blueprints just earlier. Heavy oil refinery and crude oil refinery. And we've got the... What am I missing? Oh, I need encased industrial beams. So yeah, I should just grab everything and then we can get started. Okay, we should be good to go. So let's get started. So effectively, we never want to build on this line. Oh, I meant to say as well, the idea will just be that we are going to always be raised and we'll just have to come down with a little step, you know? So our walls will be off of the pathways. So we'll go through the door just fine, but then we'll always have to come down just a little step. Not fall, but like on a ramp. One of the small little ramps will probably do. And that should be fine. Perhaps not the most ideal, but fine. Okay, so blueprints. This is pretty straightforward. We just need to build them all in a line. And they have their... Oh, I just realized they don't really have their spacing. They've got giant gaps between them. Alright, I'm going to go ahead with it. We're just going to see if it works. So I've just saved it beforehand. If not, I'll load and then we'll just redo it. So there's one just like so. So each one's going to have a decent amount of space around it. So I can basically get rid of all of this and just copy and paste these over. Activate blueprint mode. Look onto that one. Chimney's facing out. Alright. 2, 3. And we're out of stuff. Alrighty. I got what we need. Let's continue. I feel like I'm running out of stuff constantly all the time now. I don't mean like, I don't have very far to go. It's all here. I'm not planning my inventory very well. Which is silly of me because we can easily do it. Basically, I just queued up a bunch of standard refineries, not the specific ones I have in the blueprint. So that's why I wasn't calculating how much I needed correctly. Alright, so we need 15 more of these. We should be good to go now. So, yep, let's do another one there. And I think we can basically... I don't know how I lost power. I think we can basically have 9 on each side. So if we do this one, that's kind of creeping in a bit. I don't think that's okay, though. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, we kind of want 9. Alright, nice. Now the other ones could maybe face out the other way. In the opposite direction. Okay, pretty good. Getting kind of tight for space though, as anticipated. I think the remaining 9 refineries are going to be a bit of a struggle to fit in. Let's see. Alright, so just continue with these. There's only 4 more to go. I like the spaced out aesthetic though. It looks kind of nice, you know? Alright, so all 18 refineries are down for the first batch. This is for just straight up crude oil comes in. And then polymer resin and fuel goes out. We'll need 2 pipelines sending the fuel out, as 700 should be coming out of all these in total. And of course we can only hold 600, but for polymer resin it can all be handled on one belt, which is going to be 525 at most. So that should be totally fine. Now the only bit of struggle here is going to be fitting in the next ones. So the next, we only need 9, so it's not that many. So let's see if we can do that. I think we probably can. Each row here is 9. So we'll go up about to 7 and maybe slam a couple extras in on the side. Could that work? Let's see. Alright, and then we just add the last ones down this way. Should be straightforward enough. Please stop flipping direction. I'm not moving the scroll wheel or anything. It's just doing it itself. Alrighty, finally. Man, that took a while, but I think that's it. So that's going to be doing heavy oil residue coming out with fuel. Looking pretty good. Pretty happy with that. Yeah, let's see. If we grab one of these, and we widen up our walkway a little bit. Can we even get away with 3? Let's just see. Yeah, it looks like we could. It would be right on the edge. It wouldn't give you any room inside to move here. So maybe 2 is enough. Maybe 2 could be the outer walkway. And 3 could be the inner. That might be nice. Give you a little bit more space. And there would actually be room here for the same thing. Yeah, I got no problem with that. Why not? I guess the only thing would be it's just like it's very. This would be very. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, if this, it's just going to be a self-contained room. We're not really going to be in these places too much, but I was going to say it's a little close to the walkway, starting in this room, but I'm okay with that. I think it's similar on the other end. A little bit more room on the other end. I guess that'd be the uneven part. So I don't know. I'm sort of talking myself out of this 2-lane thing, but maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, either way, we get a walkway going straight down there. We could have another walkway going down that lane. And another one going to this one if we wanted to. So finally, Big Shell is being populated with buildings. And production buildings and stuff. So good to see. But a lot of logistics now needs to be done. So let's see what's going on downstairs. I'll have to create a nice little way to get down as well. But our floor holes are in the right place now anyway. And they're all lined up with the grid down here. So it should be straightforward enough just to start creating separators and getting these 2 pipes to feed up to all of these. The 3 pipes, really. So these are the heavy oil ones, and then everything else is going to be the crude oil and then fuel coming down. This place is going to be rammed with pipes coming down. So we need to find a good layout and a good place to send it all. So the generator rooms are going to be over here, and the generators are going to take up a lot of space. So before doing any logistics, we need to figure out the spacing of generators. Now, a little behind the scenes. This has taken me an embarrassingly long amount of time. The clock is at 2 hours 46 minutes. I imagine there's maybe 15 minutes in the video or something ridiculously small right now. So I'm going to have to take a break. I'll probably come back tomorrow in my time and then figure out where the spacing of this goes and then resume recording. So if my voice changes slightly, that's why. So just have to cap it off there and I'll be back in, well, I guess, with the magic of editing in no time at all.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I am back, had a little bit of a rest, and reassessed the situation. So effectively, all of our refineries are now in place. I've done the foundations for the entire floor, and just while it was nighttime just a moment ago, I was doing some of the logistics for the pipes beneath here, which I'll show in a bit downstairs. But basically, now we're on to the generators. So I had worked out previously that we had enough capacity of oil and fuel for about 35 generators if all of them were overclocked with 3 power shards. But we actually have a lot of space in this place, so I was thinking just to make use of the space and have it look kind of cooler, we could actually use 46 generators, fuel generators, and just underclock them, or not fully overclock all of them, if that makes sense. So let's just get to it. So basically, I have a fuel Jenny blueprint here, which is just basically a standard generator, but it already has a floor hole and a pipe, just to save a little bit of time. So let's just get some air time, see what we're doing. And once we get this first one down, and I'm going to rotate it away from us, then it should be just pretty straightforward to just put down a few blocks. So I've decided that I'm going to do it in blocks of 3, just to break it up so we can have walkways going between them. If we go into blueprint mode, we look at this one, rotate it around. There we go, and just make sure it's facing the right way. There we go. Right, and then basically just carve out another block of 9, I guess, here. Oh my god, my frame rate. Anyway. Yeah, and probably just get rid of this walkway altogether, actually, because it's not going to really be needed anymore. Because I'm going to make this entire room just a big generator room. Then this segment is refineries, and then that segment I'm going to leave over for handling the polymer resin that we get afterwards. Okay, let's just keep going. Alright, that is the first 12 built, so we just have, nice even rows with little gaps in between for us to have walkways going between the generators and also between them sideways, because this would be just a little bit too tight, I think, to kind of fit through. So a bit of a bigger walkway that leads down between them. Alright, so switch back here. And effectively just going to keep doing this, just keep carving out blocks of 3. So it's a 3x3 that the generator sits on. So just like
that. So it's 27 there. So yeah, another 3 can go there, and then another 3 this way, and then we'll have to use less and less, obviously, as we move along the diagonal wall. Alright, there we go. So that's going to be the first 23 in position now. So we've got like a little group of 6, another 6, another 6, then 3, and then 2. So that's going to be 23 in a row. And then we're going to duplicate that on this side, and then make it for 46. And then we have to adjust it with power shards so we get kind of even amounts, and then work out how much each row needs to be fed underneath. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. 2 large rooms full of fuel generators, although we're probably actually just going to make it one big room, really. With a pretty good amount of spacing between them. Blocks of 6 generally was the rule, but then sometimes there's blocks of 3, and then where we could fit them, just 2 on their own as well towards the end. And that basically means that we now have 46 fuel generators, and we're going to have to work out how we get them all fed fuel evenly. And that's going to be done through a series of overclocking and underclocking and just getting the rates correct, because ultimately we have 2 awkward groups here as well. So we've got refineries here and here, which are doing crude oil into fuel with a byproduct of polymer resin that comes out on this side. But then we have the groups over on the far side, which are just doing fuel out because they're taking in heavy oil residue. So it's going to get a little messy and complicated downstairs. I'll just show really quickly what it's going to look like, but I'll just be working this all out and then show you the kind of result. But I think it's kind of interesting to show the problem first. So this is the heavy oil pipe that'll have to be, well, it's actually already laid out. These are the only heavy oil refineries, and there's the output. So fuel is going to be coming out of there. Probably going to raise it, keep it high up, and then send it over towards the fuel generators. Have to work out the exact amounts coming out of there. And then these ones, these blank floor holes here are the input for crude oil. And then these are the outputs, and then outputs again, and then inputs again. So 2 lines of inputs, 2 lines of outputs for crude oil, and then 2 lines of inputs and 2 lines of outputs for the heavy oil. And that's all going to be coming in from the doorways up here. The height of the pipes are at the doorways, so the head lift is not a problem. No more pumps are needed, because once the pipes just kind of naturally flow down along the ground, they will just be able to rise all the way back up pretty much. I think, I mean, we're going, I suppose, maybe 10 meters in total above, but I think we actually have the room for that with the initial pumps that are coming over from strut A. Anyway, so should be okay. Alright, so time for me to get to work. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it's a historic day, as we're going to be powering on Big Shell for the first time. It's starting to rain as well. I think probably in my next stream I might actually do the aesthetics and try to make the place look a little bit better for the next episode, but at least all the logistics have been done in this one. So effectively, we can't power it on fully just yet, because we are waiting on heavy oil to be produced over in strut A, and that's only going to happen when we begin our plastic refinement. That's just not going to happen for a while. So the purple-ish pipes, the purple-ish pipes here are going to be the ones feeding up the heavy oil. The orange pipes are the fuel, and the black pipes are crude oil. So everything is in place for when we inevitably get the heavy oil, and it'll all just come in from over here. And like I said, maybe some of this aesthetically is just going to be tidied up, hopefully on a stream or something, when I get a few ideas from you guys on what maybe we could do. Alright, so let's start this whole thing. So basically power is ready and all hooked up. I just have locked the whole thing with valves. So we'll release the valves and see what happens. Now, I haven't tested it. I'm sure it should be fine. I'm a little bit nervous about the head lift, but if memory serves me, when we've done this before, like in the crystal oscillator plant, all the water has to go straight up. The bottom of the pipes are going to fill up completely first, and then they're all going to basically evenly fill up as they go up. So we're waiting on the oil to obviously get into everything first, and then when refinement begins to happen, we should see polymer resin flowing out of here, and then fuel will start rolling out. Do I have what I need to make more valves? I do, actually. I'd like to just make one valve here, and then I can talk you through this, because it might take a minute to actually get started. So let's trace it back and just follow on what's happening, yeah? So effectively, we have the heavy oil coming in on this pipeline here, which goes into a big fluid buffer, and then that goes into its own respective machines. We have crude oil coming in here, and this is going to be the 600 line, I think. Yeah, so 600 crude oil per minute flowing along here, and then eventually just rolling into all of these machines. Now, 600 crude oil can feed into, I think, 10 of these refineries to make fuel. So it goes all the way down to the back, wraps around, and then hits just one final machine, because if you remember, there are 9 machines on this row, so we then hit the 10th one over in the distance over there.
The 450 crude oil is coming in from the final buffer, this one here. So 450 should be coming along this pipe here, rolling along, and then cutting across and going into pretty much this whole row, save for the last one. Now I think as well that means that this one is underclocked to 50%. And long story short, that just makes everything even out. Now, in order to get the fuel working, the output correct on the pipes, right, our maximum limit is 600. We should be doing about 700 fuel, I think. We have 3 connected to this pipe here. That's like on a separate one to this one, which will... So, I'm getting even confused to explain this. Whoa, what's happening there? Oh, it's from the valve I just put down. Yeah, anyways, long story short, the fuel that comes down from the heavy oil obviously isn't there yet. And that will merge onto just 3 refiners that are doing crude oil. So we mix 3 crude oil refiners with all of the heavy oil ones on the bottom pipeline. The top pipeline, though, is the one that's really important. That's the one that just should be doing 600 when everything powers on. That's all there and ready to go now. The other one is going to be, I don't know, like 530 or something. Kind of a weird number, which we can check later, but ultimately it doesn't really matter. What we're waiting on is this pipe to get fully saturated, and it's going to fill everything at the bottom. And we can already see polymer resin is flowing, which means it is getting up to the correct head lift. And if one of them's doing it, they should all do it, I think. And because the output, because the output is flowing down from this height, it should therefore go up to that height. So no pumps are required on this floor, don't think. So let's check how it's going. So yeah, we can see our chimney stacks smoking. Nothing over here smoking though just yet. And like I said, some of the cable management and stuff like that, it's kind of temporary until I figure out where to kind of tuck it away and make it look kind of cool. So currently we are producing, if we just check regular power, we're at 29,600. So we want to see it go over 30,000 for production. I'm looking at the dark gray line where the mouse is just here. So, well, that's also capacity, I should say. But production in the thing here is what I'm trying to keep an eye on. They're both the same. So 29,600. So we should see these power on. And I haven't actually stuck any of the power shards into them yet. Do I have any on me? Actually, maybe just quickly have a run downstairs. I don't know if I left them down at base camp or if I left them just down here. Oh, by the way, I'm just sending the polymer resin into an awesome sink for now. I don't really know what to do with it because anything we make here, I could eventually send it to a train station so it's byproduct that we can send out because I don't actually need anything else. The place is kind of designed with everything in mind. And I never really... planned for having polymer resin. I just kind of forgot about it. So that's kind of a whole extra that we don't really need. And that's also because so much more crude oil ended up becoming available that I just never really thought the amount of polymer resin would be relevant to anything. Alright, still no signs of this just yet. We'll have to check those pipes. But what I will need to do is we're putting about 2 into almost everything. In fact, we could just fly up to the top here and do this for just a couple of them. Maybe just this one row. I'll do the other ones myself. But they should be okay. They should be okay to have even 3 for the most part until we start splitting some of the fuel off to the other side. But this should be with 200%, it's 24 fuel per minute that it consumes. And we have a line feeding in here of 600. So if we do 600 divided by 24, that's 25 fuel generators we could be feeding. And there's 23 on this side. So we're totally fine. So I'll just leave it at that. You get the idea. I'll be putting those in. But yeah, from where I'm looking now to my left is 25. Oh, sorry, 23. And then there's another 23 over there. So some of it still has to be configured with the heavy oil, of course, etc., etc. All right, let's check out these pipes, see if I've made a mistake, because it seems like the head lift is either taking longer than I thought, or it just hasn't reached it. See, I think it's going to fill this, and that row, and that row, and that row, and everything before it starts to go vertically at all. So that just might take a while. We're seeing little bits here. It's trying to make it. It's pumping its goddamn heart out, trying to fill it up. But yeah, it might just take a little bit of time. The pipes are getting saturated, so that's good. Might just take time. I'm sure it'll work. If it comes down from that height, it should go up, right? So it shouldn't really be a problem. I've just realized something as well. I forgot. There's 2 missing. Ugh. to get more alclad. I emptied out my inventory just before re-recording because it was also nighttime, so I was just messing around with some of the aesthetics. I was trying to put in this like fence thing or railing, but it doesn't look the best. So I'm not totally sold on it just yet. We also got to do a different type of roof, maybe some lights and things like that, cordon off sections, just to make it look a bit more like a giant open warehouse. This place is such a cool looking build from the outside. It'd be such a shame to make it just a big open empty nothingness on the inside. We want some windows, we want some hex frame supports, some pillars and things like that. We'll definitely be filling it out, you know. Okay, let's just get those elevators back in. Must have just forgot to place them in. Alright, that's a bit of extra polymer resin for you. Alright. And yeah, good to have walkways going alongside this kind of thing, so we don't have to just constantly be flying everywhere to see everything. But I wanted to get all the pipes down first, and now we can build walkways in and around them to make it look more interesting, you know? Alright, looking good. Looking good. Still no sign of power just yet. But I guess we do have to fill a lot of pipes. Oh, there we go. This one's full. I think that might be it then. Let's check it out. Yes. Nice. And the way it works, I think we'll kind of see them all kind of, relatively speaking, come on at the same time, right? Because it's all supposed to pump vertically at the same time. So what are we at now? We're still at 29. Come on. Don't tease me. And we're all hooked up correctly, right? I think so. Yeah, I think it's just a matter of flooding the pipes. It's maybe going to take a while. But the fact that they're getting them is a good sign. And this is connected, right? This goes all the way out. Yeah, there we go. We're seeing a bit of a jump. 31. There we go. All right, we did it. Nice. So we'll just give it a bit of time. These will fill up. They should do anyway. I mean, the real problem if these ones don't. Because really, we've got lots in excess. And I haven't even overclocked half of them. So they should totally fill up and be just fine. But I think we're getting sloshing. Looking at the way it's going forward and going back is probably... Yeah, things are moving in and out. That's going to take a little bit of time. Sort of like manifold, I think, and then it'll just fill up. I say these things, you can tell by the tone of my voice. I'm trying to reassure myself, but I'm pretty sure that's what's happening. You know, maybe one or two valves. I know people don't like valves too much, but just to gate the control going backwards, even like something like here, that might help that row stay on a bit quicker. I would assume, but I don't know for sure. Anyway, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we have 12 over there. 12 times 24. So that's 288. So yeah, a pipe of 300 can easily take this over. But I suppose I could have used a bigger one. Well, not really. I suppose it has to split off anyway. So this is just for direction flow. I'm not limiting it at all. It's just to help it not roll back on itself. And hopefully that should help kickstart things and keep them rolling. And then, yeah, I'll let this play for a little while and just check in on these refineries and see, are they staying at 100%? Are they getting all the oil that they need? Because that might be a problem as well. This one's on 98. I'd be a bit concerned if they're rolling back and forth, which they seem to be. So I'll have to let these play for a little while and see how it's all shaken out. Because this oil has a very, very, very long journey to get to here. Essentially, the oil that floods into this place, to use the map out here, is being piped all the way along from here, going down all the way to the ground, coming back from this area, and eventually coming out from this area. So and some of it's coming from here as well, but it's just coming from all over this right-hand side of the map. It takes a very long time to get up to here, which is why I thought having buffers would be a good idea. But maybe not. I wonder if they're empty or something now. No. Not at all. And this is definitely open and on. Yeah? Huh. I'm surprised that it would stop at all then, if that's the case. I'm not sure why it would ever go offline. I hope it's nothing to do with the verticality of these pipes, but they haven't been an issue in the past. But again, maybe it's just a matter of waiting for them to kind of fill up. Alright, I think that's going to have to be it. We're seeing a lot more chimney stacks online now. We're seeing power rising to 34,000, so we've gained about 5,000 megawatts, just about. So that's pretty good so far, and they're not all overclocked just yet, like I said. And this is, yeah, look at that. We're getting flooded, which is nice to see. Is it going to come up anytime soon? Come on. No? Gonna make me look like a damn fool in front of everybody. Oh, it came up a little bit. Yes, there we go. All right, cool. All right, that's going to have to be it for this episode. Kind of a chaotic one. Lots of micromanagey stuff to do, but things are starting to take shape. And with this one online, every subsequent episode is going to be focusing on one strut as we decide what goes into it. So the next one will be strut A, where it's largely going to be, I think, just doing plastic refinement, making sure that that heavy oil makes its way over here, and making sure that the plastic makes its way back into the core. So yeah. All right, that's going to have to be it for this episode. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.